All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To The Show Baseball Podcast, presented by Beyond the Monster. I am your host, Andrew Parker. In today's episode, we are diving into the Minnesota Twins system. I have Ty Langenberg on, and he was just named the Midwest League Pitcher of the Week last week for his performance in Cedar Rapids. And he had a complete game shutout going for them, and he ended up winning that award. So we do talk about that for a little bit. We talk about like some things that he's changed about himself over the offseason. He was entering into his second full offseason in spring training this past year. So we do kind of talk about that and how that kind of positions him for the year he's having right now. But before I get into the interview, whether you're watching me on YouTube right now, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is you get your podcast, please like, subscribe, making a big push right now on the YouTube channel. It's free to subscribe there. So I very much appreciate anybody and everybody that does that. But without further ado, let me shoot you on to the interview with Ty Langenberg. All right, I am joined by Ty Langenberg of the Minnesota Twins, and he is officially coming off a Midwest League Player of the Week for this past week for your performance. Where I want to start, actually, you had a career long in innings in an outing, and you ended up doing. Do we call it a complete game? It was 7 innings. We'll count it. So you had a complete game. What were how were you feeling that day? I mean, obviously it was your longest outing of your career and probably one of the best. So I guess take me through what you were feeling that day.
I mean, really, it wasn't too much different than any other outings. The previous 2 weeks, they kind of took the leash off. I was originally held at like 85 pitches, and then I think it was an outing in Lansing. They're like, here you go. Here's 95, like 99 pitches, I think is what I had. So once they kind of, took the leash off a little bit, I was kind of like, okay, like reverted more back to the original like thought process in college of where I'm like, I'm an inning eater. I'm supposed to go out there. I want to eat innings as a starter. And obviously, some days you just have better stuff than others. Velocity wasn't like the greatest during that outing, but I felt like I was able to really locate my off speed. I have 5-6 pitches in my arsenal, and I felt like I was able to land 4 of them pretty consistently, and then the others was able to get some good swing and miss outside of the zone, some good chase. So I think it was a combination of a lot of things. Obviously, feeling good with the command was big, and then on top of that, just I got to be a blender. That's kind of the brand that I'm trying to put on myself at this point, is being able to mix my entire arsenal consistently to keep the hitter off balance.
So I noticed something about you when I was kind of digging through numbers. There's like a million stats you can look at these days for pitchers in the minor leagues, and there's one thing that I always love to see, and one of the stats that I think is very underrated. But I looked at your outings and I saw how long into the game. I know you kind of mentioned that you want to be an innings eater, you want to go pretty deep into games, but I did notice something. You have not gone less than 4 innings in a start since June 5th. So you've gone at least 4 more innings in every start since then. And I love that. I think an innings pitch is probably a big goal of every minor league starter, I would assume. When you begin your season, you're like, I want to hit 110 innings or 100 innings, whatever it is. So for yourself, is that something that you pride yourself in, just being able to go out and maybe save the bullpen a little more than maybe you have in the past or anything? Like, is that something that you pride yourself on?
I think so for sure, especially after last year. I know last year I think I only had maybe 2 outings on the year where I didn't go 5 innings at least, and that was kind of I remember towards the end of the year last year I was like, okay, this is going to be my brand. I'm going to go out there. I might get hit around a little bit, but I'm going to eat at least 4 or 5 innings, save the bullpen. And coming in this year, that's definitely what I wanted to be. And obviously, we had a rocky road to start. I was walking a lot of guys, getting hit around too a little bit. And it just took some time to kind of find a groove. And once we did, I was, able to kind of lock it in and start eating those innings like I wanted to and get back to the brand that, I wanted to at least put myself on. So, yeah, I mean, everything started to come together and we're getting back on track.
So I just took a peek. You're at 89 and a third. You had your career high last year at 108. Is that a goal you're trying to surpass?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a goal that I'm trying to surpass. And obviously, like you said, the goal for me is, 100 innings on the year is kind of like the bar. And early on in the year, we were struggling, and then these last couple starts, they've taken the leash off with giving me a little bit of an extended pitch count. And yeah, I mean, I know I'm getting close, but obviously I want to keep, raising the bar. So obviously, I would love to get past 108 innings, and I definitely think it's possible. But we're counting down. We're counting down the starts to the end of the season, and luckily, we still have. I should get at least one, maybe in the playoffs. One start in the playoffs, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's hard. We're heading towards the end of August here, which is kind of terrifying, and it's just kind of crazy how fast that went. But I feel like you're getting close, and you're almost there. So I feel like you got maybe a few more good starts in the tank there to kind of lead you to the end. But I did want to kind of talk about, obviously, you're having a year this year. I know you said you kind of started off a little slow, but your stretch you've been on lately has looked pretty good. I mean, you've been going deeper into games and all that. So taking you back to like your off season, for example. So you are officially been drafted over 2 years now. So you've been in professional baseball for a little over 2 years since you were drafted. What did you do? Did you do anything different this past off season? Did you keep it the same as before? Like, what were you up to over your off season?
The biggest thing when I went home was, in my head at least, I need to gain weight. I remember showing up immediately post draft, and I was like maybe a touch under 200 pounds. And after going through all the nutrition and talking with the nutritionists and stuff, they're like, your ideal playing weight's 215. And I had kind of struggled to get up there over the course of the first year. Like being in season, it's tough to eat consistently. So going into the off season this year, I was like, I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to hit the weight room, like that main goal. And it worked. I shot all the way up to like 230 pounds. I put on a lot of weight, maybe not a whole lot of good weight, but put on a lot of good weight in the off season, lifted a lot, showed up for spring training, was able to cut down a little bit with, probably a little bit better diet. And then, made some good adjustments in spring training and felt really good coming to the season.
Was it a little bit of over the off season Casey's Pizza?
Yes, it was. I love Casey's Pizza. It's a staple here in Iowa. So yeah, it was hard
Oh yeah.
hard not to eat some of that.
Hey, I'm with you. I will take this to the grave. I think Casey's breakfast pizza is top
Phenomenal.
tier. I
Phenomenal.
know some people don't. That's a gas station, whatever. I don't know,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Might be an acquired taste. I love it.
Yeah.
If I lived in Iowa or in that area, I'd eat a ton of it. I grew up with it in Illinois, so I had plenty of it in my time. All right, so we talked about your off season. Obviously, gaining the weight and all that was a big priority for you. You go into your second spring training. So obviously, last year's spring training in 2024 was your first. It was probably a little overwhelming because it's the first time you're around so many people and everybody in New York's back. But since you went back for round two in 2025, did you do anything differently? Did you approach it differently because you kind of knew what everything was going to be like? Or I guess, how did you handle your second spring training?
I think it was definitely, I was much more relaxed. Like you said, it was the first spring training. You come in and there's so many new faces. You don't know who to talk to, or, you got to introduce yourself. And then there's new coaches as well. So there's a lot of just, new people, new faces. And obviously, like I didn't know how the system worked. And coming into the second spring training, knowing how the system worked, it was much more relaxing. I kind of knew where to go, what to expect. So being able to just prepare my mind and body for that definitely helps. And we had a couple snags with some lingering injuries and stuff like that, but we were able to get it taken care of. And once we got back on track, it became, they made it very clear to me what the goals were for the spring training. Like, hey, we want to try and increase your velocity. We want to make sure that you're comfortable in this quote unquote new body of yours with the gained weight. So those are kind of the priorities, and obviously adding, consistency with a couple off speed pitches. They made it very clear to me. So we focused on those, and then obviously it's going to take some time. It took some time in the beginning of the year as well to get used to those changes, but we were able to make it work.
Yeah, you kind of just spoke on something I was going to ask about here. And, you're kind of talking about your pitch mix and, adding and tweaking pitches and things like that. So my question is, every organization is different. Like I know, for example, the Red Sox, like they draft a bunch of guys and they're like, hey, we want you guys to throw a sweeper. The Yankees are kind of similar with that. And there's a lot of teams that do like, hey, we like this pitch. We want you to throw it. So for your experience so far with the Twins, have they, from when you got drafted to now, I'm sure you probably have a extremely different arsenal than what you did when you came into pro ball. Have they been pretty hands-on with you this year of like, we think you should start throwing this, or maybe grip this changeup differently, or whatever it is? Like, how are they with your pitch mix and everything?
This year, not so much hands-on. It was much more last year. I came in and my changeup was my bread and butter in college. And so I was mostly changeup fastball. I had a little bit of a cutter, and then I threw a slider. That was supposed to be a sweeper, but it really wasn't sweeping. And over the last couple of years, the last 2 years, we've tried different grips, and we found one grip that's worked pretty well, at least getting the horizontal movement that we want. And then the cutter has come along fairly well. We've been able to throw out a lot harder than it was while keeping the same profile. But this year they threw in a curveball, which is something that I threw in high school, and I was pretty skeptical because I was just thinking in my head, I think the slider and the curveball grips are very similar. I think they're going to blend. It's going to be hard to separate those pitches. And I think really just because I've had previous experience in high school with throwing a curveball, I was able to, at least so far, keep those pretty separated. And it's become, a nice just for show pitch recently. So it's just been, something that's helped me get a couple more swings and misses, just a different look for hitters. I think that's the biggest thing, just adding a new pitch like that so suddenly, especially in the middle of the season. It was definitely a little tough, and I think sometimes they'll still blend a little bit, but for the most part, they've been very helpful, and the bullpens and stuff like that for, keeping the same shape and then adding it to my arsenal and making sure I blend it in with all the other pitches.
Well, I got to transition here, and I got to ask you, obviously I want to show some love to the state of Iowa because I feel like they're a little slept on, not even just the University of Iowa. I guess just like players coming out of Iowa. I've had quite a few on that are literally just from the state of Iowa in the past like couple months, and it's very telling because I would never think that Iowa was, kind of a baseball, not powerhouse, but just like very slept on for talent coming out of there. I feel like I'm starting to hear Iowa more than I am a couple other states that I thought I'd hear more of. So for you, I guess, how lucky is it a good thing or a bad thing that, the Twins happen to have a minor league affiliate there in Iowa? I think they're one of two, if I'm not mistaken, them and the Cubs. But what has that been like, I guess, just playing so close to, your roots?
It's been incredible, to say the least. It's just absolutely awesome. I mean, every home game, my parents, I have a lot of family that show up and support, and it's really just awesome. I don't really know how else to describe it. Coming from the University of Iowa as well, it's always cool to see the Tiger Hawk in the crowd. It's a little extra feeling of home as well. But just being 2 hours down the road from where I grew up, I mean, family makes a trip nearly every single time, and especially to Quad Cities, who's also just 45 minutes down the road from us. Playing there, it also feels like a home game for me a little bit as well. So, I mean, the family shows up, they show a lot of love, and it makes me feel very, very comfortable.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I had like no idea that that Minnesota even. Well, I kind of knew they had an affiliate up in the Midwest League, but I was like, I kind of forgot it was in Iowa. And I was like, it's kind of cool, man. I was just talking with another pitcher in minor league baseball, Alex Hoppy from Iowa. He's from Davenport, and he was pitching out against the Cubs this past week. And he's like, it was incredible. It's like the entire state of Iowa showed up for me, and I was like, that is kind of cool.
Yeah,
it kind of gives you that like small time. I know it's a big state, but it kind of gives you that like small town feel type thing. But all right, so I do want to show some love now to the University of Iowa. I know you kind of mentioned the Hawkeye, and I mentioned this off air, but I've been coming across more and more guys, professional Hawkeyes around baseball right now, and I feel like that program has been on an upward angle over the last like decade, I would say. Just producing talent across minor professional baseball. So for you, I know they're Big Ten. I know, there's some good teams in the Big Ten, but what was it like for yourself getting to play at Iowa?
It was incredible. Obviously, growing up, my entire family are Iowa Hawkeye fans. So as I continued, like to grow up, go through high school. When I was in high school, like, when I realized that I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to play baseball at the next level. And then Iowa came knocking after a showcase. It was pretty surreal. Obviously, that was my goal from pretty much day one when I realized that's what I wanted to do was play at the University of Iowa. Being the only Division I school in the state, that's kind of the epitome as an Iowa kid growing up. And obviously, you got to play the recruiting game. You got to talk to some other coaches. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm going to be a Hawkeye at some point. That's the goal. And I lucked out. Robin Lund was a pitching coach that came into Iowa right before I joined. And I credit him with a lot of success that I've had, a lot of changes he's made for me. And overall, just the program as a whole. I mean, Robin Lund came in and he kind of changed the entire structure of the program for the pitchers, brought in a lot of talent, was able to make a lot of adjustments for a lot of other pitchers that, ended up having success in pro ball, whether it be for a long time or for a short amount of time. And I think he, in general, along with Coach Heller and Mari Sutherland, they really helped turn the tides and start producing a lot of professional baseball players. So it was just really cool to have that experience, have success at Iowa as well, to go there, wear the black and gold with pride. And then, at the end of the day, get to play for a team that I grew up idolizing in the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I feel like Iowa's definitely back on the map in terms of baseball. Like I said, I come across guys every week, it feels like, in minor league baseball. And it's like, yeah, they're Hawkeye alums. So they're very cool all around. But all right, I got two random questions left for you before I let you go here. Every single Monday in minor league baseball, you have an off day. And I did try to do some scouting, try to look at, maybe the Instagram or anything. I'm like, what can I see what you're into? And it was just all baseball. So I am curious about this, but so for yourself, you have a Monday off day every week. What are you doing on the off day if you're not traveling or anything like that?
It's golf. Obviously, I'm not a huge social media person. I don't post a whole lot of that stuff, but we've got a great group of guys here that we'll go down to the course. We'll play 18. We'll go get some like Chick-fil-A or Cane's or something afterwards, go grab bites to eat afterwards. But usually it is definitely a lot of golf. Usually when the weather permits, at least, we'll play a lot of golf. Outside of that, pretty much just video games, laying low, just using the off day as a rest day.
Okay, I was hoping I figured you were a golfer. Are you a video game guy, anything like that as well, or no?
Yeah, I mean, I play a lot of I'll play a lot of MLB The Show, a lot of Call of Duty, that stuff. But most of the time, it's whatever my friends are playing. I'll hop on that with them. Just like to kind of relax with those guys, hang out. I mean, it's not. I like my me time, but in the off day, obviously, some might think that being around these guys all the time for every single day for months at a time gets tiring. But these are a lot of cool guys, a lot of fun guys to hang out with. So try to make the most of it with them.
How's the real 99 card?
It was broken. It was broken to start the year, and then everybody started getting 99s, and it wasn't as fun. So,
okay, yeah, I didn't know if they did you dirty, maybe like didn't give you the velo or whatever. I've heard some funny stories, but
yeah, no, they did me pretty well. I got it early. I got it pretty much right when the game came out, and they made me throw. Let me throw 99, which was incredible.
Okay.
I throw low 90s, and seeing myself throwing 99 on the game was pretty crazy.
Not gonna complain.
No, I'm not going to complain at all. And they got the arsenal down to they got it perfect. They got everything I have. So it was pretty cool to have that card. And yeah, as later on, as everybody started to get better cards and they started to hit home runs off me in the game, I got a lot of DMs and personal messages about that. But it's all fun in games.
All right. Yeah. People are ruthless, man. They'll roast you too if they get you. So
yeah.
All right. Well, actually something I used to. I don't know if you've ever eaten at a chicken chain called Zaxby's, but you had brought up Cane's and Chick-fil-A, and I used to ask this question when I've done over like 200 of these, and I used to have like a running thing with Zaxby's early on, and It was like I'd try to set somebody up, be like, hey, what's your favorite fast food chicken chain? And I would try to get Zaxby's out of it. Didn't happen very much, but you did kind of bring up two of them that are nice competitors there. I know there's one down in there's two in Fort Myers that I hit up quite frequently actually in the spring training time. But which one do you prefer? Like, do you have a favorite?
Right now, I'd say Canes is 100%
Okay.
the favorite. I mean, there's one just down the road for me where we're staying in Cedar Rapids. There's one just down the road for me back home in Des Moines. And spring training, I don't think there's a Canes close enough, so I'll go to Chick-fil-A. That's like a pretty close second. But yeah, when I'm here, Canes definitely number one.
All right. Well, I'll hit you up once spring training rolls around and I'm down in Fort Myers for my week and a half, and I will say go to Zaxby's. There is two of them at downtown in Fort Myers, so you have to go.
Oh yeah.
All right, I got one question left for you here. So obviously we're actually heading towards late August now. It's not officially mid-August anymore. So we are into the last stretch of the month of August, and then we have September, and the minor league baseball season is over. So for yourself, do you have any goals that you want to hit by the end of the year, whether they're statistical, personal? I know we kind of talked about the innings thing. I know that might be a thing, but is there anything else that you want to accomplish by the end of the season?
I mean, like you said, the innings thing I think is the biggest part for me, but I'd really love to bring the ERA down. I know at one point earlier on the year it was sitting at like 7 or something egregious, and I've been able to lower that. I'd love to get it below a 4 before the year's over. At the same time, I would love to increase the K to walk ratio. I know I've already walked more than I did last year, and that's something I would really like to limit these last couple of weeks of the season. Is just limit the walks, continue to strike out guys at a decent clip at least, and then really the whip. I mean, the walks and hits per inning. I mean, I'd love to try and keep that down as much as possible. Obviously, some of it's out of my control. Maybe getting hit around on a certain day, or the umpire's not giving you a couple calls, but those are really kind of the specific goals I have for the rest of the year. Biggest one being the ERA, but obviously the walking guys, limiting that, and then continuing to try guys out to help the FIP out would be huge as well.
I feel like it's so hard in minor league baseball especially as a starter, possibly only starting one time a week, to try to lower that stuff. Because if you have an outing, and like you said, you maybe get hit around a little bit, you give up 6 runs, it's like, well, it's going to take you probably 3 weeks to get the ERA and the whip and all that stuff back down. So
yeah,
I don't know how you guys do it. I'd stress myself out all the time. But Ty, I appreciate all the time. Obviously, wishing you the best of luck as we head towards the end of 2025 and into the off season. But thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.